If you're a gym owner and you feel like you're just stuck on the content creation hamster wheel, you're rushing around, you know that you need to do content, but you have no time for idea generation, actually filming the content, then creating it in terms of editing it, putting it together, whatever goes into content creation, you feel like you're drowning in work that never seems to be ending. Now, you are aware that content creation is an important part of scaling up your fitness business, getting more members interested in your gyms, acquiring new leads, all these sort of things that actually generate business growth. So what you actually need is a bulletproof content creation system that allows you to create content that is of value at a very high level, but you're not drowning in work, worrying about when you're going to film your next Instagram reel or when you're going to make your next video testimonial post. At the end of the day, you are a business. You have a business to run. You're not a content creator. So what I'm going to go through today is a system that we've developed that not only we use, but also our clients use, that have helped them save 8 to 10 hours per week on content. And it has also allowed them to focus on their business more. The way we do this is we set a few hours aside every month where we batch create content, and it means that we can set it and forget it and focus on our business. Okay, so here we are in the Miro board. So this is our content creation system visualized. So this is how you can create a month's worth of content in a day and save yourself up to 10 plus hours per week. So we were actually speaking to one of our clients recently, and they felt like they had this looming pressure over them every single day where they basically were just worried about having to create content every day. And it was taking away their focus from their business and their clients, and it just wasn't ideal for running a successful business. So we put together this content system that we've sort of developed naturally, not sort of by mistake in a way. And this is the best workflow that we found to create content for our own agency. So we've adapted it, modified it for gym owners and online coaches, and I'm presenting it to you today. So you can see here that we have 4 main stages, which is prep, capture, create, and schedule. So I'm going to go through each phase, and I'm going to go through important things that we must have in place if we want to execute each phase effectively. And then, at the end of this, you'll understand how you can save yourself hours and hours of time and also alleviate yourself of some of that pressure that content puts on you. So let's start at the prep phase. So the most important thing that we must have in place when it comes to the prep of our content is content pillars. So these are going to be the topics that you know interest your audience because they have a strong emotional feeling about them. So they are usually problems that they have or goals that they want to achieve. So if we go down here, we can see some examples. So this could be things like body transformations, muscle building, fat loss, motivation, and consistency. Now, these are quite broad, quite generic. I just threw them on the page now. Obviously, these aren't our content pillars because that's not what our audience would be interested in. But you as a gym owner or an online coach obviously need to make your content pillars fitness related. So all of the content that you make needs to fall into one or more of these content pillars. Audiences and algorithms like it when you stick to one topic for a prolonged period of time. So one thing that we do want to make sure is that our content pillars sort of fall into one big subcategory. So ideally it's going to be fitness, or we could go even more specific and go nutrition or training, but those are almost too specific. You're really bottlenecking what you can talk about. So I would say make sure everything comes under the umbrella of fitness or physical development, and then you can pick your 4 subcategories within that we're calling content pillars. So if right now you don't have content pillars, or you're not even aware, you're just sort of posting without any sort of strategy, and you aren't aware of the content pillars that you're posting under, then what I would say is use your knowledge of your customers to pick 4 and then just test them. Okay, so create content about those topics and see which topics attract the highest engagement. And when I say engagement, what I'm talking about really is DMs. Okay, so likes and shares, they're great, they're good for the algorithm, they look nice on your profile, but at the end of the day, we're after DMs because that's what's going to generate tangible business growth. So let's say you're making content and you make a video about your top 5 exercises to build your chest, or the best exercise that you use to grow your back. And those pieces of content people engage with, they send you DMs, oh, I've tried this and it worked really well for me, or I've been trying this and it hasn't. Do you have any tips? So if that's generating DMs for you, then you know that that is a content pillar, and you need to stick to speaking about that often, because this is what's going to generate DMs, which is going to create leads, which is going to create members or clients, and that's where you generate your money. So of course we need to stick to the topics that our audience are interested in, and interested enough to then actually inquire further to us. So those are content pillars, and that's simply, the topics that we're going to be speaking about. Very important. We need to have this nailed down. Finding content pillars isn't an overnight thing. This might take weeks, if not months worth of testing. Okay, content is a long game. Results come very slowly. So don't expect to have very 4 solid content pillars that you know work within the next couple of weeks. If you've never thought about it before, this might be a 2 to 3 month process. Okay. When it comes to content types, particularly within the fitness industry, these are tried and tested content types. So written testimonials, video testimonials, infographics, talking head videos in terms of advice, tips and tricks, things like that, and gym/client B-roll. Now, when I say proven methods, what I'm talking about here is actually generating business results for you. So DMs, getting people interested in your paid services and not just likes, views, shares, comments, whatever. So virality is a very different type of content, okay? More entertainment style and stuff like the form correction. The best advice when it comes to form to grow your shoulders is going to go nowhere near as viral as some sort of funny fitness video. Or you see the Ashton Hall videos at the moment, if you're not aware of him, the guy who dunks his head in the ice and has like tens of millions of views on every reel that he does. But it is probably generating business growth for him. But if you start to jump on trends like that, it's maybe going to generate more views, more likes, more comments, but it might not actually generate more business growth compared to you just sticking to purely value-driven content. So this, when I'm talking about proven content types, is proven content that grows your business. So stick to these, okay? We can, of course, try others. There might be new things out that I'm not aware of that doesn't work, but I can confidently say that these work, okay? So if you don't know where to start, this is the type of content that I would say you want to be trying out first. Now, when we move on, we need to think about idea generation. This is a big part of it, and this can be a massive time waster for a lot of people because idea generation is very important, okay? If you don't have a good idea, then inherently the content is going to be bad. Okay, you can have it well scripted, you can edit it, you can do all of these fancy things, but if the foundations that video is built on, i.e. the idea, is bad, then the video will be bad, no matter how much you dress it up. So, topics that we create content around must resonate with our audience and fit into our content pillars. So we need to be guided by the pillars that we have generated. Keep in mind this for when it comes to idea generation. So think about common FAQs, problems or goals that your clients/members often have, and then answer these things in your content. So answer these questions, solve these problems, help them achieve these goals in your content through tips, tricks, case studies, testimonials, whatever it may be. Also, if you're really struggling for ideas and you don't know what problems your clients have, or you don't know what goals they have and all these kind of stuff, you can also look at what other creators that are similar to you, what they're doing. So what are other online coaches doing? What are other gym owners doing to generate business growth through content? Understand what they're speaking about in their most popular posts, give your own insight on these topics, or show your response to their video. So if you see a particular topic gaining a lot of attention, then you can give your 2 cents on it and add to the conversation when it comes to that topic. Or if there is a particular video that you find extremely interesting, perhaps it's controversial, perhaps it opens up a discussion and you want to give your insight on it, then you could react to that video. So you play a short clip of what you're reacting to and then follow up with a video of you speaking on it. These kind of content also do very well. That's kind of a reaction style, which I guess falls under the category of talking head advice, but it sort of starts with a reaction rather than you just presenting your own topic and then discussing it. You sort of follow on from a video that someone else has done. And this can be a really good way of using someone else's authority to gain attention to your video, and then you add your own section, your own advice. So scripting. So some of these content types might require scripting, and this can actually make the content creation day far smoother and easier. I definitely recommend that you do this, particularly when it comes to things like infographics, talking head videos. If you have a script in place, so you can just copy and paste text onto your infographic or simply read off a script, when you have the camera in front of you, it's going to make content creation day far easier and, less headaches, and that's what this whole video is about. So if you need to write scripts, you can either do this manually or you can ask AI to give you a draft that you can then change to suit your speaking style. I recommend doing number 2. So you simply put forward the topic and your main key points that you want to speak about in your video. You can give it to AI, ask it to structure it in a very particular way, and then you can shuffle it around, change it, remove bits you don't like, add bits that you want in there, change the speaking style so it suits you, and then when it comes to recording day, you have a well put together script. But AI basically gives you the first 80%, and then you can just tweak it, change it around, and then make it that last 20%, so you have a perfect script. What I wouldn't recommend you do is just take what AI gives you and repeat it. It's going to sound very robotic, very generic. I don't recommend you do that. You need to make it your own. One thing that I would say when it comes to scripting is AI, particularly things like ChatGPT, are very good at role playing and pretending. So if you're asking it to write you a script, then I would always start off your prompt with something along the lines of, I want you to pretend to be an expert copywriter and you have 20 years worth of experience in writing scripts for short form video. Once it understands that you want it to act as the authority figure in this sort of script writing process, then the actual results that it pumps back out to you are going to be really, really good. So that's the best way to get the most out of ChatGPT. Another thing that I would say is don't be scared to recycle content between different content types. Some people like video, some people like infographics. Content preferences shouldn't stop people from seeing the value that you have to offer. So if you have an infographic about your top 5 favorite fat sources when it comes to eating a healthy diet, then if the infographic did well and you think that there's some really good, valuable points in there, then you should also turn that into a talking head video. Okay, because if there's someone who would never read an infographic but is constantly on Instagram Reels, why shouldn't they not be able to see the advice or the value that you're trying to give off just because they simply don't scroll their feed, they only scroll Reels? So something to keep in mind, and it also allows you to really stretch the most out of all of these good ideas that you're coming up with. So it helps with the whole idea generation part of it. So part number 2 is capture. So this is where we actually capture some of the content. So a lot of these things we're going to need to film, but we need to sort of film when we're with clients, when we're at the gym, training with members. So this is where we do that. So in the capture section, we want to streamline this as much as possible. Organization is key. Now, organization basically means execute everything in the prep stage properly so that when you come to having your content day, this runs smoothly. So you'll have one content day, which means just for that day, you have content as a focus, and then you don't have it distracting you across multiple days every other week. You can just get it all done in one day, and you just have one day where you think, okay, anything that I look at, anything that I'm doing, anything that I'm speaking about with a client, could I capture this? Would this be valuable content? Would I want to post this and share this to my audience? And this allows you to strip yourself of the mental burden the other 29, 30 days of the month, and it just means you focus on it for one day. Here we have the testimonial videos. So when it comes to filming your video testimonials, which are far more powerful than any sort of written testimonial that you can get from a client, because people want to be able to see the people that you're helping, they want to hear their story, they want to understand how you've helped them, what their problems were, what goals you've helped them achieve, and you can best do this and you can best communicate this through a video. So what I would say is film your testimonial videos with clients one by one. Okay, so just almost have them line up and ask them one by one, do it. Bang, 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 one after the other. So this can actually encourage the more shy clients or members to take part and give video testimonials rather than just written ones. So those people that are a bit more uncomfortable on camera, and when you ask them for a testimonial, they say, oh, I'll just text it to you, or let me do a Google review rather than getting filmed. If they can see 3 or 4 other people give a video testimonial before they do, then it might make them feel a bit more comfortable actually doing it themselves, rather than just being singled out and they have to stand there in front of a camera and they're the only person doing it. That might be a bit more uncomfortable for them. So doing it this way makes it a bit more of a community thing. People get involved when they see other people doing it because they're part of the group then. I would also say that we want to film member and client B-roll throughout the day. So capture not just clients exercising, but human moments of people struggling, succeeding, and pushing each other on. When it comes to this, I would say do not fake this though. So don't set up a moment where people are hugging or a fake high five. That's cringe, and I think a lot of people will be able to tell. Now, this is going to be useful because on days when you're maybe just trying to show off your gym, how it works, gym tour, that kind of thing, this is going to be perfect stuff to post. But also when it comes to your video testimonials or your talking head videos, then interjecting B-roll of your client's training or how your gym works or clients helping each other, this can really help you portray the story that you're trying to tell. So if you're making a talking head video about all the great things that people can expect when they come to your gym, and one of them is you will achieve goals, and you have a nice clip of someone reaching a weight that they'd never reached before, you know, they've lost a certain amount of weight and they've hit their goal weight. If you can capture that moment on camera and put that over the top of that moment in your talking head video, then the storytelling there is just far better. People can visualize the story that you're telling. It just makes the content far more compelling, and people can invest in that far more emotionally. So do this all for one day and forget about it for the rest of the month. So that is the content day that we call it, and that's where we basically capture everything that we need to capture when it comes to the gym and relies on your clients or your members. So this way it's all just done in one day. Section 3 is create. Now, on creation day, we finalize what we captured on content day, and to be honest, create is going to be the longest day of them all. Okay, but provided that we have done the prep day and the content day correctly, then this is going to make the creation day go smoothly. It's just going to take the most amount of hours. So on capture day, we are going to create talking head videos. Set yourself up on a camera and film them one after another. This is exactly what I do when it comes to filming my own Instagram reels. So change clothing so you don't look like you've batch created everything. So maybe take a hoodie, film the first 3 with the hoodie on, take it off for the next 3, put a different t-shirt on for the other 3. It just allows you to look like things haven't been batch created. But the beauty of doing it in this way, and the reason that I like to do it this way, is you get into a flow of talking to the camera and filming becomes effortless. The first 2 videos that I ever film when it comes to my content creation day, they're quite rusty, okay? They're a bit stiff. I feel a bit awkward, but once you've done a couple, then you sort of feel your groove, you get into the flow of it, and then the last half of the videos are far better than the first half. That's how I find it anyway. So then more often than not, what I do is I take the first couple of videos that I actually filmed and I redo them again at the end, because at that point, the gears have been lubed up, everything's running smoothly. I can look at the script, I can memorize it, I can repeat it back to camera in a fairly effortless, non-awkward way. Or my ability to do that is far better at the end than it is at the beginning. So that's why I say that you almost want to run up, because you need a few practice runs before you really get into the swing of it, especially if this is something that we're not that used to doing. Okay, at the end of the day, we're business owners, we're not influencers, we're not content creators. So this can be quite unnatural for us. So this allows us to sort of just realize that it's not the end of the world. Okay, it might feel a bit awkward in the beginning, but once you've done a few, it's not really the end of the world. Now, in terms of speeding up your workflow at a cost-effective way, what I would say is using apps like CapCut or Captions AI. These are going to be really useful apps for you to use when it comes to adding subtitles or removing pauses or mistakes. So both of them are very easy to use and they only cost about £10. CapCut, I don't really have a lot of experience in it, but I know a lot of people use it and they find it very easy to use. I have used Captions AI. I used that a lot when I was first started making content, and it is AI powered. So you can use AI to remove the pauses. You can go through and take out the mistakes. It also allows you to add subtitles. You can also add images, other titles and things like that. And like I say, it's fairly easy to use and pretty cost effective. So at the same time that we are filming our talking head videos, we want to then create infographics, and we do this on Canva. This is a free design software. The paid option is good, but not always necessary. What I recommend that you do is you use infographic templates to start off with like a solid idea when it comes to the structure, and then you enter your prepared script. So again, this becomes a lot easier when you have your script prepared. Also, if on your capture day, you filmed content, you filmed B-roll of your clients working, then you can take screenshots of that content and use that as backgrounds. So people can buy into this infographic far more when it comes to your business, because they can see images of people training, of your gym, how it all works, and that's just going to make your infographics that bit more effective. So what I would say is you need to stay away from stock images and use your own photos, which is what I've just said. So here I am on CapCut. I've just selected an Instagram reel. So this is the perfect size for an Instagram reel. This will be the size of your phone, and you can see here that there are templates. So there are templates that are premium. Okay, so if you have the paid version, then that's going to make it a bit easier, because a lot of the good templates are on the paid one, but you can still look at these, take inspiration, and then just recreate them. So a lot of these are stories, so you actually make your own video, but some of them, if I can go back, you can see them here. Like this is a still image. Now this is obviously not going to be ideal for fitness, but this works. So if we can actually type in fitness poster, let's see what it gives us. Okay, so these are good. You know, this gives you a good solid foundation in terms of some sort of decorative features, layout. You can add your logo here. It just keeps things simple, and you can just quite easily come in here and make them your own. Okay, there's plenty of different options here. You can pick the one that you like. Some of them are more ideal for, so here you can see price lists, and that's all formatted for you already. You just simply need to go in, change out the pictures, and again, it's all very simple to do. So I would recommend using Canva when it comes to your infographics. It just makes things very easy. Okay, and then also using the same software that we use to edit our talking head videos, we're going to edit our video testimonials. So remove silences, mistakes, and add subtitles. So of course, we need captions for all of these posts. So I would say that you can either use your brain or ChatGPT to generate captions for posts. Okay, this doesn't need a lot of thought. Reiterate the topic of the post and add any CTA. So more often than not, what I do when it comes to captions, to be honest, not many people actually read the captions of your videos. Particularly if we're talking about Instagram Reels, they're just scrolling through, and the only time people will really dive into the caption that you've written is if on your video you instruct people to look at the caption. So perhaps you've presented the video topic in your reel and then you say to find out more, read the caption. Then obviously people might take a look at the caption, but more often than not, what I do is I just reiterate the topic. So if I'm making a video about the 5 best protein sources, then I would just make the caption, these are the top 5 protein sources that I would recommend, or something to that effect. Okay, it doesn't need to be anything that special. Okay, and then finally we have schedule, and this is the beauty of the whole thing. Okay, you can schedule a month worth of content, set and forget until next month, and that is the beauty of this system, is it just saves you so much time, and it means that every day you're not having to think, oh, I need to post this, I need to post at this time, I need to, and setting alarms, setting reminders. None of that is necessary once you have scheduled everything. So most platforms have their own scheduling feature. So if you're scheduling for Facebook and Instagram, we need to be using Meta Business Suite on the planner section. For YouTube, it's all integrated into YouTube. If you're doing long form or short form, everything can be scheduled, and the same with TikTok. Now, you can use third-party schedulers, apps like Buffer. There's another one called Metricool, and these work, and the beauty of using these is it allows you to set one post onto multiple different platforms. So you could just set this once, tick the boxes for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and it will send it out via this third-party scheduler. But I have heard rumors that if you use third-party schedulers, that the platforms like Instagram or TikTok will actually suppress the amount of reach that you can get because they've been pushed through these third-party schedulers. Now, whether that is true or not, I don't know, but I'm happy to put in the extra hours of just going through to a couple of different websites to schedule rather than using one, if it means that my videos are going to sort of get a bit of a better reach. But if you're really pressed for time, then these can work. So I recommend Buffer. I know Metricool is free, completely free, so that's a way of doing it, but all of them do the same thing, and yeah, they do save you a lot of time. So it just depends on whether you want to believe the hype on whether that actually ruins your reach. So those are the main 4 steps. Okay, so that is how you are going to be making all of your content in 1 month. And in terms of actual time, I reckon prep is going to probably take you about 2 hours. Capture is probably going to take you about an hour in the day, half an hour for the video testimonials, half an hour worth of actual filming when it comes to the B-roll. Create is going to take you about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and then schedule will really not take you any time at all, 20 minutes at max. And this will get quicker and quicker the more you do it. So by the time you're doing this for month 5, then you will have shaved at least 10-15 minutes off each phase because you'll just be used to working in this way. So this is how you actually save yourself hours and hours every month on your content. But here are 2 other optional extras that I recommend that you do if you are trying to get the most out of your content. So of course we have number 5, which is engage. So what is the engage section? Well, what I would say is we want to spend at least 10 minutes per day engaging back with engagers. So DM followers and commenters. Maybe interact with prospects, content to try and open up a conversation in a non-salesy way. So if you see people posting on Instagram that you think this is the sort of person that I could help out, they live in my area, or maybe you're an online coach, you're not bound by location, but this person seems like someone who you could help. They obviously have a goal, and that is the sort of thing that I help people achieve. Then you might want to either interact with them, comment on a post, like it, perhaps send them a DM that's not salesy, not buy my program, start my fitness challenge, join my gym, but something genuinely useful like, I see you following these various fitness accounts. Is there anything that I could help you with that you're struggling with at the moment? And that opens up a conversation. You're leading with value. You've built a bit of trust because you're not asking straight away, you're actually giving. And this could be a really good way to actually turn your DMs into leads and then into paying members. And yeah, 10 minutes per day seems to be enough. Okay, it doesn't need hours and hours. Of course, the more your following grows, the longer that may take. And at that point, you can decide whether it's actually viable and it's actually generating an ROI for your business. But 10 minutes per day is the bare minimum that I would be doing. And at the end of the day, you can do this just sat on the toilet. Okay, if you're sat on the toilet and you're going to be there for 10 minutes, you can just do it then. Okay, you can squeeze that in whenever, really. So the last one that really supercharges your content is lead magnets, and then obviously a call to action to these lead magnets. So to increase the likelihood of engagement and a positive reception to you, create free resources ideal for your customers, which are called lead magnets. What I wouldn't do is send someone a free resource and say, here's my lead magnet, because that title makes it very clear what you're trying to do. You're trying to turn them into a lead. Whereas we want to come across as helpful. So we want to phrase it as a free resource that's there to help them out. And of course, the goal is to genuinely help them out. So these are going to be things like 7-day free training guides, meal plan templates, healthy recipes, calorie calculators, and the like. So these must genuinely help your ideal customers, and they must be of high value. If they are rubbish, people will hate you for wasting their time. So if we send over rubbish lead magnets, people are actually just going to get annoyed because they've taken their time to read through it. Maybe they're actioning it. And if they don't get value from it, they now hate you because you've wasted their time. So to actually get these lead magnets into people's hands, there's several ways that we can do this. We can add DM/comment CTAs for people to gain access. So use softwares like ManyChat to automate this free resource being sent to them. So you might have at the end of the video that you're talking about building muscle. If you want my 7-day free training guide, DM me the word guide and I'll send it over, and you will then have it programmed in ManyChat that whenever you receive a message that simply says guide, that will then automatically send over this free resource. Perhaps it's a PDF or a link to a course or whatever it is, but then that automatically gets sent over, and that's going to be ideal. People want these things instantly, and if you send things over promptly, that just looks good, and you're obviously providing a very professional service at that point. So why do we do this? Well, this builds trust and it makes them more open to talking further about your paid services. So the beauty of it is, if you sent over a lead magnet, you can then follow up a day after, 2 days after, the next week, and basically say, how did you find it? And ideally, they're going to have found it very useful. And then you can then open up a conversation saying, well, that's great. It's only for 7 days though. So if you're looking for a more long-term plan that's going to help you continue to achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve, then I have XYZ offer. And then you can start funneling them through to your paid services. But the flow there is far less salesy than you simply just going straight into the neck for a front-end offer, basically asking them to pay you money. But this way, we've led with value. They trust you a bit more, and they're more open to at least discussing what this service is that you provide, rather than just batting you away because you're like every other person on Instagram, basically jumping into people's DMs asking for money. So another way of doing this, if we have a smaller audience and we're not getting a lot of traffic to our content, is we can actually DM people asking them if they would find value in your free resource. And if they do, then you send it over, and then boom, you have just built trust. So obviously don't just be sending this willy-nilly. Maybe try and find accounts that are similar to you. You could go through their followers and you could maybe see, you could try to find people that look like your ideal customer. They obviously follow fitness accounts. They're trying to look for knowledge, look for information for them to be able to achieve their goals. You can then go through these sort of people that are similar to you, go through their follower lists and pick out people that you think would be your ideal customer, follow them, DM them, ask them if they think they'd find value in your lead magnet or your free resource. And if they do, send it over, and then the process has started. Okay, so that is how you streamline content creation when it comes to being a gym owner or an online coach. Like I say, content creation could be a massive drain on your time and your energy. And at the end of the day, a lot of us just don't have this time. So this is going to make it easier for you to be able to put out high quality content on a consistent basis and continue to grow your business through content without becoming a content slave or making any weird TikTok dance videos or whatever it may be. This keeps things structured and it keeps you looking professional. Now, if you're interested in other ways that you can grow your fitness business through effective marketing, then I'd recommend that you click on the video on the screen now.